Ladies and gentlemen, if I can have your attention, please. We are looking to start as close to 7 o'clock as we can. However, our moderator is stuck in traffic. She's not too far away, so I'm hoping she will still yet make it. But cut us just a little slack for a few minutes while we... This is a church. We'll pray that she gets here on time. Okay?
I'm going to introduce them. We're not going to spend a lot of time on introductions, but she should be here momentarily. Okay. All right. I'm going to start the call about now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get ready to start here. Would the candidates please come up towards the platform and find their seats at the tables?
okay there.
No cheating.
I'm not gonna, I'm looking at something else's answer. How can I find it? What's that question again?
No cheating. No cheating allowed.
We used to have like a little one of these.
I never did that. Never did it.
No, right there.
Larissa. Never do something like that. Well, that's not right.
I really cared to find it, but I mean, I went from A to C because she got a lot of weakness there. Sometimes she fell out of time. It's a great American system. Just got to kind of live with it.
There's always people who want to be
Okay, would the audience
vengeful.
please find their
Take a little
seats?
revenge, take a little bite out of somebody.
We're just about ready to begin. Okay, well, welcome to the Palmetto Bay Candidates Forum for 2014. We hope that this evening will be informative, that you will learn something about the candidates that are running for office in your village, and that this information will be useful in helping you make your selection. It's vitally important that we engage as many people as possible in the electoral process, and it's also vitally important that those people be knowledgeable of what's going on and where their candidates stand on the issues. So hopefully tonight you'll have a better understanding of that when you leave. We are looking to conclude this somewhere in the 8:30 to 9 o'clock range, so we will not hold you past 9 o'clock that. And hopefully we'll be able to finish a bit sooner than that. Introducing myself, my name is Chet England. I am no relation whatsoever to the candidate up there. I know who he is, but that's, I am no relation to him. I am, however, the chair of an organization called the Palmetto Bay Village Voice, which is an entity that is dedicated to education and information. The electorate on political issues around the village. We are one of the co-sponsors for tonight's program. Also, other co-sponsors, we have Grant Miller from Community Newspapers. Grant, are you here yet? Oh, Michael Miller standing in for Grant. Good. Newspapers, Palmetto Bay News, Cutler Bay News, I think you're all familiar with them. They are one of the, excuse me, one of the co-sponsors. And then lastly is David Singer. David Singer, who is a blogger and head of Common Sense, an organization obviously focused on the political process in Palmetto Bay. Is Maribel here yet? Okay, we're still waiting for our moderator. Maribel Balbin is going to be our moderator tonight through the traffic. We've gotten stage-by-stage reports as she's made it from, 136 to 144th to 152nd. So she literally, last heard from, she was at 152nd, so hopefully she won't be too much longer. She is with the League of Women's Voters. She is obviously absolutely neutral in this campaign. She has no axes to grind for any particular candidates, so we hope that, and she's also experienced in dealing with these kinds of forums, so we be able to run a tight ship here. As you can see, we have 9 candidates for the 3 offices that are up for election this year, this cycle. We have here, we have Council 1, and we have Karen Cunningham on the end here, and David Zisman running for Council 1. In this table here, and the start of that table, Henry Clifford, Jim and Larissa Sigalera, all for Council 3. Then for the mayor position, we have Peter England here. Raise your hand, Peter. There you go. Patrick Fiore. Eugene Flynn, and incumbent Mayor Shelley Stanczak. Okay, up there in the balcony, we have Miami Hal Feldman. I don't know if you know Miami Hal, but he's a local realtor, and he has volunteered tonight, bless his heart, to do a streaming video out over the internet for those of our fellows here that can't make it but would still like to see what's going on. So Hal will be pushing it out over the airwaves for us. Let's see. All right, I'd like to turn it over to David Singer, and David can describe the format and how the evening is going to go. Okay, David?
Thank you, candidates, for being here tonight. I was hoping the moderator would be here so she could explain the rules, but I guess that depends on me now. Each candidate was given all the questions in advance. So as of Friday, they all know what is going to be asked of them. They've had a chance to review the questions and make up their mind how they were going to answer. Opening statements by each candidate will be limited to 2 minutes. After opening statements, each candidate has submitted one question to be asked to the other candidates running for their seat. So, take an example. The present mayor asked one question that will be answered by Peter England, Patrick Fiore, and, Eugene Flynn. Okay, and that will work through the 3 seats. Okay, after that's over, I have 37 questions in this basket right now, and we will pass them around, and what will happen is some question, and each council seat will be asked one question. So it will be either answered David and Karen, or it will be answered by Henry, Jim, or Larissa, and we'll go on until we hit at least 15 questions. The answers from each candidate will be limited to 2 minutes. Done, each candidate will be given a limit of 1 minute and 30 seconds for a closing statement. And after that, it should be around 9 o'clock and you can all go home. Hi.
Let me introduce our moderator here. This is Maribel Albin. She is the representative of the League of Women Voters. And forgive our discussions here. We're trying to catch her up to speed with what her role and responsibility is going to be tonight. She ran into some serious traffic out there. But she will be posing the questions to the candidates. And as David... Okay, are we ready to go?
Ready.
Okay. Let's see. We will start with the candidate-to-candidate questions, and you've got your list there. And then after that, you go to the audience with the basket and selected. Whoever you want can choose a question out of the bin, and we'll go from there. Now, I'm too busy talking to her to know how exactly he explained it, but the way we're looking to do it is each question that she asks will be answered by the candidates for a particular position. Like she'll ask a question of the Council 1 candidates, and then maybe the next question will be of the mayoral candidates. Otherwise, with 9 candidates, we could be here all night, and I don't think that's particularly helpful. All right, so are we ready to go? Maribel, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, and you have no idea how I try not to be Cuban on Cuban time. I mean, it is one of my goals in life, and I thought I was here totally like at 6:30 and just missed sort of conception of US 1. I mean, I live in Miami Lakes, so I have a very view of traffic this way. So my apologies, please. I'm so sorry. And on behalf of the League of Women Voters, we do thank you very much for inviting us to be part of this evening, and I'm always so impressed with the participation we had in the last debate, and to see all of you here. You're certainly invested in your community, and that shows, and this is really amazing. Thank you so much. So,
I don't know that we mentioned this, but before the questions start, each the opportunity to make an opening statement. What's the minute and a half on the opening statement? So,
We can't hear.
oh, you can't?
No.
Can you fix that to give them some sound up front? Okay. Can you hear better now? Is there a little better? Okay. Stay as close to the mic as you can. Let's, each candidate, and we'll take them in order as we run down the line here. We'll start with Karen Cunningham, Council 1 candidate, and a minute and a half. Minute and a half is an opening statement. Karen?
Is the mic on? Could I ask a question why you changed the rule? You said first initially it was 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Now it was 2 a minute ago, and now it's a minute and a half.
Yeah. That's for the opening statement.
That's what you just said.
Started before it becomes a minute.
Yeah, that's right. The longer it goes here.
There you go.
2 minutes? All right. Let's make it 2 minutes then. 2 minutes.
Okay, I'm going to talk really fast.
Okay.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedules to be here. I also want to thank Grant and Michael Miller, Community Newspapers, Palmetto Bay Village Voice, David Singer, and Maribel Balben from League of Women Voters for being our moderator. Maribel, they said that you were the moderator because you didn't have an axe to grind, but I don't think anyone in the room has an axe to grind. We're just a community trying to move forward. So we have a snapshot of who I am, and so I wanted to share with you why I'm running for council in Palmetto Bay. I'm running because I want to reconnect the residents with local government. I think that's been, past many years, we've kind of lost, there's been a little bit of a disconnect between local government and the residents. My campaign, mainly my daughter and I, have knocked on several hundred doors in the community, and we've been listening to what residents want. And so here's what you said. You said you want safe neighborhoods, and you want to make fighting crime in the community a top priority. You want to make sure that we maintain our quality public schools and private schools in the community. Many of you shared concerns about issues with local streets. You want to maintain our beautiful parks, and you want to provide more programming for both the young and the young at heart. You want to keep our taxes low, and you want civility in local government. I want to create an environment here in Palmetto Bay where all of our neighbors, like yourselves, can be heard and share their visions for Palmetto Bay. These things, I think, can be accomplished through increased communication with our residents and the building of a strategic plan for our community that reflects your priorities in the community, both residential and business. These have been successfully implemented in municipalities, both to the north and south of us and all across Dade County. As a community, we need to work together to mend fences and move forward. I believe that my skills in building consensus and coalition, in addition to the relationships that I have established in the greater at the local, state, and national level, set me apart from my opponent. I'm very proud of the support that I've earned from many leaders in our community, including our school board chair, vice chair, Dr. Larry Feldman, Village of Pinecrest Mayor Cindy Lerner. But more importantly, I'm very pleased to have the support of many friends and neighbors in the room this evening. I thank you for your time, and I look forward to hearing your questions.
Okay, thank you to David Singer, Village Voice, Christ Fellowship Church, all the folks that have come out tonight. It's really great to see the involvement in the community. My name is David Zisman, and the reason I'm running is I have been involved in Palmetto Bay, we'll call it politics, as far as an observer of what's happening. I've been to hundreds of council meetings over the years, and I don't like what I see, and I'm here to help out and make things as good as I can make it. I've this community for almost 20 years. I'm going to die. I'm not moving. I'm here forever. I have a business located up on the highway called Evenings Delight Fireplaces. Most of you in this room have been there, probably all of you, and I thank you for that. And I just want to make things better. Now, I've visited almost 3,000 homes over the last 6 months, and there's 4 items that the residents tell me that's important to them in no particular order: traffic, police, parks, and taxes. And all of those items need to be addressed immediately. They're getting out of control. This council has tried to raise taxes twice over the last couple council meetings. I'm here to pledge to you tonight, I'm never going to raise taxes. We don't need to raise taxes. We just need to manage our finances, and we need to bring a business point of view to this council. And that's what I bring. 40 years of business experience and we are going to make this town the best it can be. Thank you very much.
Henry Clifford. I've been a resident of Palmetto Bay for 35 years. This is not my first forum. I want to thank especially the organization districts who got a very good turnout because of the extra advertising we got from the Mayoral newspapers. Thank the moderator and our host. I moved here 35 years ago to live in a quiet, beautiful place. For the most part, it's still a quiet, beautiful place, and I plan on doing everything I can to keep it that way. I like the quality of schools. At the time that I moved here, the traffic was much less than it is now. I'm hoping to do something about that. I got involved almost immediately with neighborhood issues. I kept involved. One thing led to another. I helped us incorporate. Once we became incorporated, I've been active in virtually every phase of our village life. Have missed very, very few meetings. I'm not sure that our past behavior is a guarantee of future behavior, but if it is, I've certainly been walking the walk for a long, long time. I don't really need to make any promises in particular, except that I will listen to you, I will do my best to do the right things for you, and I'll keep doing what I've been doing for 35 years. Thank you.
Coming, ditto to whatever everybody else is thanking you for coming here. You know, I'm not the kind of person who reads from a script, so I'm just going to speak to you from the heart. I'm running because I love this place. My wife and I, when we were assigned to Columbia, we came back to Miami and we decided we needed to move. So we moved to, we looked, took us well over a year to find a place. We looked for over 100 homes. But as soon as we hit this area, we knew this is where we belonged. Kept going at it until we found our place. I still stayed on the job. My wife is still on the job. I retired, and I stayed involved in my profession, which is I was a criminal investigator with the Drug Enforcement Administrator. I believe that after 33 years of serving you, the citizens, in different parts, I was in the Army for 3 years. I was in Vietnam in 1969. I was in law enforcement in the United States, state of Florida, and federal for over 29 years. That I'm an individual that is going to tell you the truth. I'm going to be upfront about it. I'm going to listen to say, and I'm going to abide by what I think and what you think from your feedback is the best decision that I can do to maintain and preserve our quality of life. We live in a little oasis in the middle of chaos, which is called Bay County. And I really appreciate every time I enter the boundaries of our city, and I'm very thankful for sharing this space with all of you. Thank you.
Hello? Yes, hi. I am Larissa Lara, pointed at, but I'm going to assume it's okay. I am a 16-year resident of Palmetto Bay. I actually moved my career to Burger King Corporation so that I could live in Palmetto Bay, because this area had wonderful schools, has great proximity, had great amenities. It was a wonderful place to raise my family and raise my children. In the past year, I stopped working. Became more aware and involved of our community and its issues and our government. I wanted to serve because I would like my children, my family, and all of us to really have a community that we can be proud of. I think that we need a government that works for all of us. I really believe in a representative democracy that considers the needs of every resident and every stakeholder in our organization. We need to be sure that we're doing the right thing for the greater good in our area. And I think that we have great assets. We have a wonderful starting point to go off of. We have a wonderful community, and I think all of us here agree that we want to be in Palmetto Bay because it's a really good thing for us. I think I have the right business experience and maturity and leadership to be able to help bring about changes to Palmetto Bay. Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to thank our hosts, community newspapers, David Singer, Palmetto Bay Village Voice, and of course Christ Fellowship for hosting this event. I'm a 30-year resident of Bay. I live here by choice. I retired in 2009, and after looking around and checking out the landscape, I figured there was no place I would rather be than right here. I'm very involved in the community, not just in attending council meetings, but with the Deering Estate, with Jackson South Hospital, Economic Development Council, the Palmetto Bay Business Association, the Downtown Redevelopment Task Force, and I do all because I'd rather wear out than rust out, and I do this because I have the support of my wonderful wife of 52 years, June. June, stand up and be recognized. Couldn't do it without her. About us. 12 years ago, Palmetto Bay Incorporated, bringing government closer to the people was the objective. And it was a good idea then, and it's a good idea now. But after a strong start, we've kind of descended into the politics of divisiveness, and a rift has been created within the village, pitting neighbor against neighbor. And at this time in our development, while we should be maturing, we've kind of degenerated into some petty backbiting. It's time to put the past behind us. It's time to put an end to this bickering and litigation. My intent is to bring everybody back under the big tents, businesses, schools, churches, neighborhood associations, all of us together. That's why we incorporated. That's my idea of community. In this village, everyone will be treated with respect when I am mayor. And listen we need to re-engage our community. I've knocked on many doors. I can't outdo David Zisman, but I've knocked on a lot of doors, and I'm constantly energized by the wonderful residents we have in this community. The message is clear. It's time to move on and get the government we deserve. If all of our sectors can work together to achieve our common goal, we can make this village a model to the rest of the state. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Singer, Community Newspapers, Christ Fellowship, for hosting this, and thank you all for coming this evening. 4 years ago, many of you didn't know me. Your faith in me. You elected me, and I've tried to fulfill my duty to you to solve every issue that I can that you bring forward to me. I kind of pride myself on being called a Public Works Commissioner. Many of the road projects you've seen done with conjunction with the council, of course, 77th Avenue, 136th Street, 144th Street, we got done. We've also lifted the user fee. Many of our not-for-profits now do not have to pay a user fee when they use our community rooms. Our children do not have to pay a fee when they use the skate park in Palmetto Bay Park. Our children also have a safer route to school due to the Safe Routes to School program, where we put sidewalks in where there were none. So I thank you for your support back in 2010. I hope to have that same support going forward. Thank you kindly.
Thank you and good evening. Thank you all for coming out. Thankfully tonight was not like last night. Got very soaked heading to the Palmetto High School open house. So I know I saw many of you there. Thank you for coming out and seeing me again a second time. It's been an honor. These have been some exciting times for me. It not only was exciting for me as chair of the Incorporation Committee, fighting with so many of you sitting out here to get incorporated, it was exciting to start the city and get it off to such a great start. It was exciting to be the founding mayor of the village of Palmetto Bay. And just like in Godfather 3, when they say, just when you think you're out, you feel drawn back in. That's kind of what's happened here, because as I talk to people out in the community, they want to get back to what we had those first 8 years. And that's my not to go back, but to pick up where we are and to continue to move forward. And let's look at what we can do, because I think the first 8 years are a pretty good indication of not promises, not excuses, but accomplishments and where we can go again. Remember, I'm proud that we brought in millions of $19 million for capital improvements. We built the skate park. We brought in 2 new parks. We bought bayfront land. Tried to preserve Thalata. We built a library. And you know, that wasn't done by any one person. That was done by something I'd like to bring back to this council, and that's a team approach to the council. As mayor, I felt I was part of a group that had some very specific responsibilities, and when everybody works together, maybe you don't agree 100% on the direction, but you agree that you need to move forward. Tonight's going to be talking about what we can do, but I guarantee you there'll be no surprises on land changes. There'll be no surprises, and we're going to talk about some programming I'd like to bring back, like an art show in this village. Something that sorely disappeared after I left, and I'd like to see back. I'd like to recruit many new members to bring back and bring back to the committees that we should have. My time's up now, but there'll be plenty of questions to go through additional things. Check out my website, eugeneflynn.com. Tree City USA, there's just so many different things to talk about. AA bond rating, we'll get to them. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight and sharing your evening with us. This is a unique opportunity we have to share this democratic process we have. But I want to share a little bit about me. I've lived in this community since 1977, as many of you know. I've lived in South Dade since 1972. And during that time, we've gone through struggles. But let's talk about the accomplishments of the last years and what our village has done. And those were the promises that I made to you 4 years ago. We have the same 2.447 tax rate over the last 4 years. And no, we did not try to raise taxes. Even as ad valorem fell to a down economy, we continued to grow our reserves from 9.8 million to 13.1 million today. The goal of the Downtown Redevelopment Task Force is to keep our taxes low, to improve our US 1 corridor, to make sure that the village of Palmetto Bay has a tax base that's funded not just by residents, but by commercial as well. Standard & Poor's has consistently rated us with a AA bond rating since 2011. Public safety is the highest priority, with 2 additional police officers since 2012 and 2 new fire stations this year. We've built a sense of community through expanded excellence in parks and programs. Thalata Estate is now fully renovated and offering classes, family activities, and venue rental. And we've ensured excellence in our A+ schools with our Education Compact and our Education Committee. We are a board member of the Green Corridor and the PACE program, which builds a sense of green and commitment to clean energy. Palmetto Bay is still a young village, and it has come far. I believe it is time for us to work together once again as a community. Residents, government, and schools, and all aspects of our community to create a vision, a plan for the future of our village, the parks, our infrastructure, and economy, to create a vision of what the future will be for our village. We work together to create Palmetto Bay. Let's work together to create a wonderful future, a plan for our village. I'm honored to have served as your mayor for the last 4 years. I promise to continue to work for you each and every day. I will keep your taxes low, enhance your quality of life, keep our village safe, and work with you to make Palmetto Bay the premier place to live, raise our families, and work.
Thank you.
I keep my promises.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on with the way the rules were explained right before I got here. So we're going to start with seat 1. And the question posed by Mr. Sisman to Ms. Cunningham. So I'm going to go ahead and read the question that was submitted by Mr. Sisman. Karen, you have been telling us about your 5-year strategic plan for over a year now. Can you tell the residents any part of it, and how would you implement and fund it?
Thank you for the question, and David, thank you for the question. I've actually been talking about a 5-year strategic plan for about 2 years since I ran in 2012, and I'm glad that Mr. Zisman thought it important enough to have a little more discussion on it tonight. A strategic plan is a document, really, is essentially what it boils down to, but it's a document that's going to capture the priorities of our community. Our neighboring communities on the north and south both have strategic plans, and in many cases they have had multiple strategic plans for their community. We are 12 years old and we still do not have a strategic plan to move our community forward. I think the idea of having a strategic plan to move the community forward has picked up some traction, because I know there's several mayoral candidates also that are speaking about creating a strategic plan for the community. It's going to be a living, breathing document. It's where we're going to reach out to the community and get feedback from the community, just as myself and my colleagues have been doing door knocking, potentially taking a survey for our residents. You would give the priorities, complete the survey, give the priorities back to us, and then they'll kind of be itemized. And then in that sense, we can go ahead and start spending money on the things that are important to our community. I know that Mr. Zisman brings a business background, and I know his attitude has been one of getting it done is important, and I agree with you. Getting it done is important, but getting it done right is essential. And I think that a strategic plan for our community based on your priorities will help us to get it right as we move forward in Palmetto Bay.
Thank you very much. Following the same order, this question is from Ms. Cunningham to Mr. Zisman. David, would you support allowing stadium lighting in our community at parks and schools? And if yes, what height limitation would you permit?
Okay, thank you. The question itself is just moot. Lighting is not permitted by our codes in non-residential uses in residential neighborhoods. That has been beat to death by our council. It's very, very clear. They're not permitted. The entity, Palmer Trinity, that was asking for those lights withdrew their request. There is no other entity requesting lights. There's no lights even on the horizon, to my knowledge. They are not permitted by our code. The question is a very divisive question. And when I saw it, I said, why would Karen ask me that question when she knows if I was in favor of them, which I'm not, I couldn't do anything about it. It's a divisive question. It does not belong in Palmetto Bay politics anymore. We've had 4 years of fighting, pitting neighbor against neighbor, literally husband against wife in some cases, and it's got to stop, and it needs to stop tonight. Thank you.
So the answer is you would not support it. We agree on that. You would not support it.
I think I made that very clear. Thank you.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Thank you so much. Those were the questions for seat 1, Council 1, seat 1. So same format, we have a question from Mr. Clifford, and this would be for Ms. Siegel. What have you done to serve the residents of Palmetto Bay, and what will you do to protect the quiet enjoyment of their homes?
How have I served the residents of Palmetto Bay? Well, I have been a pretty good citizen, I would say, since I've lived here for 16 years, like most of us. I have really wanted to be part of the community. Oops, sorry about that. Thank you. And engage in the many activities that have been available to us. I like the idea of the art in the park because that was a great thing to be a part of. I also decided this year, as I became more involved in the politics and the municipal government, to step up to the plate and put my skills to work to serve for the community. So that's my intention moving forward. What will I do to protect the quiet enjoyment of homes? I think it's really important for all of us to have a good expectation of respect and consistency in our government process. And I think that's really the guarantee that we already have, as Dave points out, a number of ordinances and a number of processes and procedures that will help us and define what the methods of quiet enjoyment are. I think that for any of the issues that come up, we need to be sure that we can count on a government that listens, that considers the citizens' viewpoints, the neighbors' viewpoints in the most affected areas, and decides accordingly based on all the information available. I think that's really the best thing for all of us, to make sure that we are actually very consistent in terms of our government.
Thank you. Mr. Shedd, do you want me to repeat the question? Or will you answer?
No, I think I pretty much remembered.
Okay.
That complicated, right here? Look, it's an interesting question because it kind of gives the appearance that people like me, who all of a sudden just came into the game, haven't really been involved in the village of Palmetto Bay. But again, I remind you that up until 2005, I was up here where you didn't see me because I was wearing my invisible paint. We were running and gunning all over this place, arresting big-time dopers and putting them away, and arresting serious criminals and keeping them out of our neighborhoods. So I think I've done a great deal for all of us. Since then, I have decided, as I looked around at things and the way things were going, I decided that it was the best time for me to get involved and try to do something to improve and preserve and protect our quality of life. My answer to the question is, I decided to run for office. That's what I'm doing for the community. I think that City Council is a representative form of government. We are a mini legislature. We're supposed to listen to your needs and try to solve your problems, and that's what I intend to do. That's about it. I can't think of anything else to add to that question. Did I answer your question? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, this was Mr. Clifford's question. I don't know if you wanted to make a quick comment on your what you want to answer that question, or if you can pass.
My own question?
Yeah, or you can pass. I just want to make sure that we all get the same amount of time. Okay.
He's prepared. I think
I know, that was his question. I just want to make sure that we all are afforded the same amount of time for each of the questions. And the next question then is from Ms. Siegel-Lara, and will be Mr. Clifford first and then Mr. Shedd. What experience and skills do you have that would be easily applied to the fiscal sustainability of our community? Mr. Clifford.
I've been involved in bid processes in 2 local governments, at the fire department, at Dade Schools. At Dade Schools, I provided technical and in some cases instructional support to about 500 people. When I got there, they had a handful of non-functional computers and a bunch of not quite legal software. So I worked very hard as quickly as I could to make everything absolutely legal and above board to improve the functionality. We grew from 6 laptops to 500, from a handful of desktops to a few hundred. And I moved from there to get the cost on all of our software, the testing software for the system, and to make sure it worked and then bring it into the network. I was busy in that part of the job, financial job. However, our council is supposed to be the managers of the budget process here. We've had what appears to be an incremental process where you figure out what you used last year and you add whatever the increased costs are to it, and a few extra priorities. We're facing an era of flat revenues and increasing costs, healthcare and so forth. We're going to need to go back and reassess our priorities from the very bottom up with as broad of support as we can from the public. We're going to have to find out what we really need to do as a village and come up with the funds to do that. We're going to have to make some tough. I think I'm qualified to sit and work with the other people on the council process from day one as soon as we're sworn in. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clifford. Mr. Shedd?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. Back when, again, I keep referring to where my experience and my base is. When I was with the Drug Enforcement Administration and I was supervising what we called programs, you're assigned as a supervisor, as a manager of the program, you're assigned a lot of money. And I mean, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to run different programs. And my job as the supervisor was to make sure that the money was well spent, that it wasn't abused, and that the taxpayers got every cent that they gave us, whether it was in work product, in arrest numbers, in training, and in working with foreign counterparts, making sure that they did their job for our benefit. So I am quite familiar with having a budget and running a budget and doing it properly and doing it correctly. Again, I support what Henry was just bringing up. As a legislative body, as a city council, we're not going to have we're going to have something to say about the budget, but not the everyday expenses that go on. That's going to be run by the city manager, which is what we have. We have a city manager form of government. We're the overseers and the protectors of the money, and we're the overseers of that is properly spent. But I agree with Henry. I think that the future is going to be here before we know it, and we're going to have some sort of agreement among all of us as to what we're going to do, especially when the upcoming funding. Even though we have $13 million in reserve, and we average about, if I'm correct, and I'm not 100%, that the city receives about over $10 million, $10.5 million in revenue a year. We're doing actually pretty good, but we must plan for a bleak, hard future if it comes and when it comes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Shea. And Ms. Sigolaro, first, do you have maybe a minute for that? Make sure, because there were no questions from Mr. Shea, so we're going to make sure that we have, since he has spoken twice, that you have the opportunity. Yeah, so yes, okay, but 1 minute only.
I think that fiscal sustainability is very different than budget management. I think fiscal sustainability is about having the forward vision of what we need to do to make sure we have the right money coming in and that we're spending the money properly allocated against the right priorities when it's going out. So it requires leadership and problem-solving skills to be able to actually figure out where the right revenue sources are, what are the best ways to grow them, and then what are the other ways that we can look at managing our expenses? Which are the correct expenditures for our community? What are the right services that we need? What are the right levels of performance? I think that we are agreed, not the budget managers. We're actually the council who will be in charge of setting fiscal sustainability. It's much larger than budget management, and I think that my skills as a business person have enabled me to make great methodical decisions, and I think that's what it takes to really know what you need to do to be fiscally sustainable.
Thank you very much. Okay, that completes the Council's 1 and 3 questions that the candidates had posed for their contenders. So we're going to go on to the mayor's race. And the way we're going to do this, we have questions again submitted by the candidates. I'm going to start with Mayor Stanz's question, and then we're going to start with Mr. England's responding. We're going to go that way, and then we'll do the same with the next question. The question for Mayor Stanzik is the following. Goal number 1 of the Village of Palmetto Bay's comprehensive master plan includes quality neighborhood protection. What does that mean to you, Mr. England?
The fundamental character of our village is residential, and it always will be, because let's face it, the village is basically built out at this point. The challenge to the council going forward is to develop alternative revenue sources so that we can maintain a high level of municipal services while holding the line on to the residential property owners. I think the Downtown Redevelopment Task Force was an effort in that direction. We have very little commercially zoned real estate in this village. The objective is to try to make the most of that to relieve the burden on individual taxpayers while maintaining a very high level of municipal services. It's a challenge. Mr. Flynn also referred to the fact that in the earlier years of the village, we did very well from a grants perspective in helping with capital funding. We need to get back to that. We've been able to pick up some speed in this past year, but there's a long way to go. And I think as far as quality neighborhood protection is concerned, it's the excellence of our municipal services that are going to guarantee that going forward.
Thank you. Mr. Fury, what does quality neighborhood protection means to you?
My answer to the mayor's question is very simple. In the preamble of the Palmetto Bay Charter, there's a table of organization and a box. And in the box, the very first box at the top, it says residents. Residents first. Then it comes down to council, then down to village manager and the department heads. So whether you live in the Frangio Triangle or in one of our gated communities or off 176th Street or in the north part of the city, residents first. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We're keeping time really well, so thank you so much for keeping the time. Mr. Flynn.
Thank you very much. I was part of the group that wrote our first comprehensive development master plan, and it was a result of hundreds, if not thousands, of and public input. We tried to write a comprehensive development plan, and I believe we were quite successful in one that meets our residents' needs. And yes, we are primarily residential. We need to have a solid commercial base, but one that serves our resident, not overwhelms it and takes it over. I think quality neighborhood protection means a solid set of rules, neither draconian or one that allows for surprises. Recently, we've had charter amendments on different things. Even now, there's talk of trying to have a charter amendment on stadium lighting. I think we need a charter amendment to make sure that our comprehensive development master plan isn't amended via surprise. We need to have a process for inclusion, notice, no surprises, fair rules, but if you have a quality economy, you will have a quality city that's not forced to change its rules to accommodate big development trying to chase expenses. So I say let's live within our means, let's protect our community, notice, transparency. Thank you.
Since all the candidates submitted questions, then we will not have a comment from the person posing the question. The next question is from Dean Flynn, and the first, it will be Mr. Fiore responding first. Please discuss your position on setting aside green open space and protecting the environment, including your answer, your statement on green principles, and what you will do if elected mayor. One example is the FPL Color Power Plant property. How would you handle this upcoming issue? Mr. Fiore.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Flynn. I supported the Green Corridor, which has allowed many of our residents the opportunity to fix their homes, fix their roofs, use solar panels. I oppose the idea of placing too many homes in certain areas, and we had an issue that came up recently that was dropped. And I've said this 4 years ago, I'll say it again. There has to be a partnership between the developer and the community. There has to be community outreach. And I think in certain cases in our village over the past several years, that was sorely lacking, even before my time on the council. As to the FPL Color Power Plant property, there can't be any massive development here. People in Royal Harbor Yacht Club border that property. What we need there is again, outreach between whoever that developer is, whether it's going to be Standard Pacific or it's going to be someone else. There has to be community outreach. There has to be a relationship between the developer and the community so we avoid issues we had previously. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Stancic.
Thank you. For me, about green spaces, there is never enough of them. We have a great opportunity in our downtown redevelopment to redo what was done during the charrette that had very little green space. That's the way you set a standard. Go back, take a look at what was done, see what you can do to improve it, and that is an opportunity we have. The current information on the downtown redevelopment is now including 30 times the green space. That's commitment to green open spaces. The FP&L Cutler Power plant property. That is a partnership, as Councilman mentioned. We do need a partnership. When I have a zoning hearing, what I want to hear is I hear that an applicant has met with the residents, has reached out, that the resident and the applicant come together and say that their concerns were listened to and they were incorporated into a plan. What makes a successful applicant for a project as large as that? Yes, there's been properties within the village that we would like to preserve. Environmentalists are interested in the property at the Palmetto Bay Village Center. So am I. I want to preserve that property, but there's a glitch. This is where property rights come into play, where downzoning occurred improperly and the property owner has litigation on his mind. That's a difficult catch, but we have the opportunity to create still in our built-out community green spaces in our downtown, to create a Central Park type existence, to create a smart growth community with access to transit. We have the ability to include green codes that require water conservation, clean energy, the assets and the aspects of green living, smart living. That's where we're headed in our community. We have that opportunity. Let's take it.
Thank you very much. Mr. England.
Thank you. Actually, Gene, this is about 3 questions. A good job, I think, of setting aside green open space and participating in this green corridor. As mayor, I'll continue to support these principles with regard to future development. The Downtown Redevelopment Task Force, which we referred to earlier, has made it a cardinal rule that there will be green space separating any commercial development that takes place along US 1 from any residential communities to the east. That is a given. But as far as the FPL site is concerned, we're probably never going to have another opportunity to rezone 70 acres in our village. It is crucial that we involve the community in that process. Even if we have to take it to a referendum to finally satisfy the residents in terms of what the outcome is ultimately going to be. Process is terribly important. The lack of process, in my view, is what caused the chaos over the fire station sites just a week ago last night. And really, the fact that so much of the Palmer Trinity issue was discussed in the shade where our citizens really couldn't get a grip on what was going on, I think resulted in a lot of the $1 million in legal fees and a sense of divisiveness within this community. It didn't have to happen that way.
Thank you very much. We're now going to ask the question that was posed by Mr. Fiore, and it reads as follows, and it will be answered first. If the village manager informed the village we had an $100,000 surplus, how would you allocate those funds?
Very carefully. What we're talking about here is an unexpected $100,000 surplus, and what's key on that is how that surplus comes about. Lately, the village has been very big on overestimating expenses, underestimating revenues, and at the end of the year, they say, you look like heroes. Well, we've got to tighten up our budgeting. You shouldn't be having surprises like that. $100,000 when we put away $13 million it's not a big number. But what's important is a precedent you set every year. There's a lot of good we can do with $100,000. So are we not properly budgeting for that? Do we want to put in there contingencies? Do you want to give back some of that money? But the problem is, what do you do with it this year that doesn't create expectations next year for that same $100,000 you might not have? I would say that when you get in $100,000, we had a situation one year in Tallahassee, we got $100,000 from our state senator. That was marked for green purposes, and we used it for a green recycling program in our parks. That was one example of coming up with the money, but there was an earmark to it. So the best I could do on that, not knowing where it comes from, whether it's earmarked, would say, how about a transparent process where we do a budget amendment, consider it, but advise people that that money may not be here next year.
Thank you very much. Mayor Tansik, how will you do with a $100,000 surplus?
Thank you. This year, as you all know, there's been a change in the police contract with what's called snapbacks. Snapbacks have burdened the police contract with a possible $800,000 increase in expense for our level of service. And you know what the most important thing in our village is? We talk about quality of life, but without safety and security, quality of life is negatively impacted. The most important thing that people name is that they are safe. $100,000, even if it doesn't repeat, even if it came because we underestimated an item on the budget, you know what? We can use some extra police coverage. We always can. Not because we're not safe, it's because we are safe, and that's how important it is.
Thank you very much. Mr. England, what will you do with a $100,000 surplus?
Well, my rule would be plan first and later. If we get a sudden $100,000 windfall and have no specific plans for how that money is going to be spent, I would be very hesitant to simply jump in and spend that money. One of the more obvious ways to utilize that is to reserve, but see on the part of government when $100,000 suddenly appears to say, you know, we've got to figure out a way to spend it and spend it now. I think that's a wrong-headed approach, and without a proper plan in place, just spending $100,000 doesn't make a great deal of sense. Put it in reserves and figure out later how it might be utilized to the benefit of the residents.
Thank you very much. We'll come to Mr. England's question, and Mr. Fury will be the first one to answer. I assume you support the urgent public safety need for 2 additional fire rescue stations in the village. How would you make the site selection process more transparent to avoid the chaos that occurred at last week's zoning meeting and thereby bring more of the to the process? Mr. Fiore.
Yes, thank you. First of all, fire, this is a Miami-Dade County function. It should be addressed by Miami-Dade County Fire Department administrators, and I think they were sorely lacking in this. I had stated at the meeting, I was at the meeting, and I had put several calls into Miami-Dade Fire Administrator. Those calls were not returned. This was several months ago. Miami-Dade County Fire Administrators locate the land, they build the station, they staff it. And notice I said administrators. This is the management of the fire department. And then on that same night, we, the council, were informed that the fire department had executed a contract the same day with Old Cutler Presbyterian Church. This was news to all of us sitting up on the council, and the gentleman from the stated that. So it's my belief in this case that the lack of transparency thereof, I believe a lot of it lies with the county. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Flynn.
Thank you, thank you. Transparency is a big issue here. If you recall, the way we got these fire stations was one of the first things the original council did, and I was proud to be part of that, was create a public safety committee. I know Mr. Clifford served on that. There's too much I going on with this and not enough we, and that's where the transparency falls short. If you recall, in years past, the council had been to D.C. and actually got an act of Congress for the USDA land twice. It needed to go through the Senate. We also passed a resolution working with Miami-Dade County to locate it on the Palmetto Bay Village Center site, and there was a public hearing, a very transparent process for that went through, I believe, in April of 2009. I ran out of time during term limits. We will never know why this issue sat without any reports at council meetings mentions its State of the Village, or anything else, why it's sat for 2 years. And then all I have to say is thank goodness for elections, because suddenly the issue came up and hopefully it finally gets closed. I don't think the issue is going to get by. But those stations have been funded since 2004. But I think it went through a good process originally. Committees, meetings, notification, but the follow-through hasn't been there.
Thank you very much. Mayor Tansi, same question.
Yes. This issue has been plodding along basically because we were relying, for instance, on the USDA property to get a federal bill passed. That never happened. We had a process where we had a town hall meeting. We've had meetings at people's homes. We had meetings at Village Hall. We had meetings that included homeowner associations, people from Pinecrest, because it also serves Pinecrest. We had many meetings and announcements and inclusion and information that, for instance, I even sent out in my updates. But yes, that meeting was a surprise. It was a surprise from Miami-Dade County Fire that they actually have 2 properties under consideration in the very same end of town. Is it about transparency? Probably not. Probably because the information was shared, the information was out there. In 2013, we had a town hall meeting about the very same site. We've even had resolutions passed regarding the fire station site at 184th. Fire could have done a better job, that's true. But you know what it's about, really? It's really about bringing more safety and security to your community. It's about response time. It's about saving lives when fire rescue is late to the party. It's all about the residents of this village. It's all about you and what's important to you. Fire rescue is an important issue. We are by contract with Miami-Dade County Fire. We are bringing 2 fire stations. That's what.
Thank you very much. That was great. That was the first section of the forum. That completes the first. Move into the question in the box session. The questions in the box. Are you going to pass them around and I'm going to read them, or? Okay.
Mr. Engling's going to walk around and we're going to ask people in the audience to pull one question, and we'll start with council seat 1. These are all at random, by the way.
Okay. It's like a game show. Okay. What are you prepared to do to bring this council together and work as a team in the future? Is this a 1-minute answer? 2 minutes. Okay.
Is it mine
and it
first?
starts over here. Right,
okay. Thank you for the question. For quite some time, there's been a little bit of a lack of civility on our council, and it creates a level of distrust, I think, within our community. I think I bring the leadership skills, the ability to build coalition and consensus within our council. I think once you have the new council on board and you start implementing, having expanded committees and drawing more of the public in to the process, I think that's going to clear up a lot of the levels of lack of transparency that folks, and lack of trust. I think you get the council rolling and we're able to start having conversation and the public's able to see the work that they're doing, some of that's going to fall off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And the same question would be for Mr. Sisman.
Okay, this election is actually about that question. The current council just doesn't get along. There's 2 distinct sides, and that's got to end. And you voters out there need to make the choice of what elected officials will work together and will get the problems of Palmetto Bay solved. I have a history of reaching out to both sides and being friendly to both sides. Some of you out there don't agree with what my position on certain topics may be, but the one thing I am is friendly, and I do compromise, and I do listen. I am passionate about my side of a issue, and I'm proud of that, but I do have the ability to listen and compromise, and I look forward to doing that on the council. Thank you.
Thank you. We need another question then now for seat 2. Oh, we're falling behind here. Thank you. Okay, this question is for seat 2. And we'll start with Mr. Shedd. Give an example. Well, I was just corrected by the audience. So I'm going to change it. No, we try to. Audience, listen to the audience, Mr. Shedd. Give an example of how you...
Let's start all over again.
Okay. Give an example of how you exhibited leadership in the last year.
Well, in the last year, leadership. I suppose that is a very large question. I exhibited leadership in the last year. Thank you, Henry. There. I exhibited leadership by getting Henry to move the microphone. Look, one of the things that I'm doing now is I'm working with criminal defense attorneys. And I took a situation a little while ago where I firmly believed initially that the person was guilty. And he was charged with very serious crimes by my old agency, by the way. And I honestly believe that he was guilty. Well, I took it upon myself, because the lawyer's hard. I looked at the case and I studied it back and forth, and I concluded that this man was innocent and had been charged, wrongfully charged. We were able to get slowly, because of evidence that I found and the work that I did in conjunction with the attorneys. It wasn't done by one person, but we were able to clear this man completely, exonerate him where all charges were dropped and the government withdrew everything. And initially he was charged basically as being an axe murderer who had killed his parents. And they dropped it down to 4 FAA violations. I did an investigation on that and found out that didn't hold water, and the man walked. All charges were dropped. I've never seen that before. I called my retired colleague. Has this ever happened in your career where DEA charged a man and eventually he went free because he was innocent? And nobody could remember that. So I think that was I felt pretty good because we cleared an innocent man, could have gone to prison for the rest of his life, and he was innocent.
Well, thank you very much. And Ms. Cigolara, will you answer the same question, please?
How was leadership exhibited in the past year?
Yeah, exhibited in the last year.
Yes. I, in the last year, decided to stop working and separate from my company because I wanted to make sure priorities were for my life. I have a young family. I have 4 children. I have my husband who is also a full-time, or was at the time a full-time business manager, and therefore I thought it was time for me to make sure that I was directing my life in a way that was consistent with my goals and my priorities. So to me, I exhibited a great degree of leadership to make that decision and to follow through with it, to assess my family life, my home, and so forth, and then take on this new role. It's my belief that our best leadership, our best selves will come when we are doing things that we believe in and that we enjoy. And I think that that's why this is a really good fit for me, running for council.
Thank you. Mr. Clifford, same question.
This might go back a tiny bit more than a year in its beginnings. One of the committees I've been on is the tree board. A board is a standing committee that the job will never be done. The people come and go. The committee or the board stays. So we were charged by ordinance specifically with coming up with a comprehensive tree management program for the city. In the first couple of years, we didn't do much of anything except bicker and try to get grants, which we got a few, but we were not moving towards the stated objective in the ordinance. So I said, you know, I couldn't be here if we weren't going to be doing this anymore, so they made me chairman that day. And a little palace coup there. And we started on that process immediately. We've tripled our meetings we've had, and we've gone through various bids and bid processes to negotiate what we want, and we've got a grant and just finished the process and inspected and approved the output of a survey first of what we have. It's a good idea if you're going to figure out how you're going to take care of things to know what you have to begin with. So we now free is on all the public right-of-ways in Palmetto Bay, and the parks will be next. Then we're also moving towards broadening the types of trees that we're going to be, and then we'll be moving, and I'm fighting on this, we're going to be moving towards perhaps, if we can find the funding, actually some of those trees, because the only maintenance happens in the first year and the homeowner, even though they didn't ask for the tree. And lastly, tied all together, I've been working to get the Million Orchid program here in Palmetto Bay. We had the director of Fairchild come and meet with several directors, and we just had him at the Garden Club for the same thing. And he's very excited because we now know where all of our trees are and exactly what they are, and he's extremely interested in putting orchids on particular trees in particular places. Thank you.
Thank you. We need another question. Who wants to put a question up? Mr. Flynn. Please explain how your current job and time constraints will interfere with your obligations on the council.
Well, that's easy. It won't. I have 8 years of experience of putting nearly full time into being mayor. As I had this question, it's so funny, but I think I was sitting closer to where Henry was sitting when I answered this question back in early of 2002. Back then the answer was, I'm a full-time father, full-time husband, full-time attorney, and I'm going to be full-time job at the mayor. I've got an 8-year track record of putting as much time as it's needed. You want to meet with me? We'll meet. A lot of you got emails at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's plenty of time to sleep. Never been a problem. Wasn't a problem over 8 years. Is it going to be a problem in the future? You think running this government the next 8 years is going to be difficult? Well, try putting it together initially. I'm not going to say it's easy and downhill, but I've done it once. I'm fit, and I'm ready to do it again. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Mr. England.
Well, I'm glad this question came up, because as I look around on this panel, I think I'm the only one that is not working. I am retired. I intend to be your full-time mayor. I have no obligations to anyone other than to the village of Palmetto Bay, and I'm going to work only for you, the residents. Thank you.
Mayor Stacy.
Well, no, I'm not retired, but I do have my own business, and that is what gives me the flexibility. I am a mom. I am a grandmother. But lucky for me, they're in their 30s, and my grandchildren, they stay with mom in Broward. No, I've got plenty of time to give to the village, and I give it willingly. As you all know, anybody who knows me well, I am a workaholic. I work 7 days a week, and that's what I love to do. The village is a place that I love. I've worked since 1986 to support the people here. I worked through Hurricane Andrew. I worked through converting our schools to community schools. I'm here, I work, and I work for you each and every day, and you all know I do, because you see me. You know that you can find me at work if I'm not at Village Hall, but I spend 3 or 4 days full-time at Village Hall, and that's the lucky part of owning your own business. You can set your own hours. So I would thank you for the opportunity to continue to serve you. And you know where you can find me. And by the way, my cell phone number, if you don't see my car, is 305 389-3425. Write it down. You can always find me.
Thank you. And Mr. Fiore.
Yes, thank you very much. There are no constraints. I am 110% committed to being your mayor as I am the councilman from District 1, and I will do whatever I can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have another question. And this time, Mr. Sisman, you will answer first. How would you manage expenditures invested for capital improvements for downtown Palmetto Bay to ensure the money isn't wasted? Mr. Sisman.
All right, let's talk about downtown Palmetto. It's probably the most important project of this town's history. The area is blighted, empty buildings, empty land. It's important that this council put the proper resources into it. And what I mean by that is not buying land and not building buildings, but providing the infrastructure by providing the codes, rewriting the codes to make it beneficial for a businessman to move in. Right now, the attitude of town is anti-business. I hear it all the time. Businesses, permits, try to relocate here and turn around and leave after months and months of trying. That attitude needs to change. So this council needs to spend the money properly. In fact, $200,000 has been spent, give or take, already on studies that were needed for the project. After this initial expenditure, it's more about the attitude of the council and the town to invite businesses here, and that will increase the tax base for the commercial area, relieving the tax burden on the residential areas, and providing a wonderful place to go for shopping, for restaurants. I envision a beautiful restaurant row with French restaurants, Italian restaurants, steakhouses, Cuban restaurants, and that's what this town needs. Because when you all want to go out now, if you want to go out tonight to dinner, which I'm inviting you all, we're not going to Palmetto Bay. We're going somewhere else. Let's keep our money in Palmetto Bay, and let's make this town beautiful.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cunningham?
Thank you. I have to say I agree with Dave in terms of the downtown redevelopment. I think it's, I have some concerns about the vision and the ambitiousness of the vision, but I think whatever we do down there in this downtown redevelopment area, it can only serve to enhance our home values. Once it's built up a little bit and there's places for our community to go. I think one of the things I would like to see us do is to create a financial advisory committee. That committee could be charged in part with making recommendations on how money is spent, including in the downtown redevelopment. I also think if you take the proper steps for proper planning moving forward, some of that's going to be built in over the next many years, because downtown redevelopment is not going to pop up overnight. It's going to be a multi-year process.
Thank you very much. Next question will be for the council, seat 3. And it has already been pulled from the box. And we'll start with Mr. Clifford. What do you see as the most significant issue facing the village in 2015, and beyond what do you propose, and what do you propose to do about it?
I'm glad you said and beyond. We have a lot of things to take care of in the short term. I'm very concerned about the long term. Again, most people who move here, whether owning or renting, come here for the wonderful, quiet places to live, the quiet enjoyment of their homes. We use that phrase a lot here. It means a lot to me. I want to do everything I can to preserve that quiet enjoyment of your homes. The value of your homes, when you go to sell them, I want to be worth a fortune. I don't want to do anything to mess up that system. However, as I said earlier, we have a a potential budget crunch coming somewhere down the line here between revenues and expenses if things keep going the way they are. We have to make a lot of hard decisions about our priorities and exactly what we have to have and what we could maybe live without. I've been in Miami my whole life, and I've watched sleepy little places like Bal Harbor become high-rise canyons, Coconut Grove become something not what like it was when I lived there. South Miami become mostly businesses and not that many. I don't want to have to sell our souls for high-rises in order to be able to fund our government at the levels which we would like. We're going to have to work very hard to make sure that doesn't happen, start with the lowest possible density and negotiate as hard as possible away from that. I want to have the lowest possible density that we can get, the lowest possible traffic everywhere in Palmetto Bay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clifford. Mr. Shett?
Henry, you lived in the Grove? Dude. All right, listen, I haven't heard a lot of talk about a lot of things, and I haven't heard anybody say anything about the possibility of the marijuana initiative passing, and how, if it passes, how is it going to affect our city? Do we have any rules? Are we going to have any ordinances? Where they can dispense it? Who can dispense it? Where can it be located? I keep hearing the same subjects beaten over over and over again. But I think the statistics show that the referendum may pass. I don't see anybody preparing themselves within the village for that. I'm not saying I'm for it or against it. But
so
you lived in the
there will be something beyond.
But I just think that that's important. Well, it's going to come up. It's going to be voted in November. It's going to be implemented in 2015. If it's approved, then we should be prepared to deal with it. Do we want it near schools? Do we want doctors to set up offices here and have dispensaries all over the place? The same thing happened in LA. The city of LA was not ready for what was coming, and they ended up with 600, 900 marijuana dispensaries, and then they ended up with crime, robberies, and all the things that come with it. And they had a huge problem trying to put the ordinances in place afterwards. I think if I'm elected, I would like to start thinking about that and see if we could put some ordinances in place that if it becomes legal, and those that support it are apparently on this side of the room, the left, your left, my right. But if it passes, then we should be prepared to deal with it, because it'll be something that's in the Constitution of the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I mean, there is something now that passed the legislation last year, which is the Charles Webb strain, and we have some rules sort of set up in the statute for that. But yes, it will be something, and it's the most controversial one on the ballot. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Ms. Siegel-Lara, beyond 2015.
Right, marijuana notwithstanding. I do think that the most significant issue for us in our village is fiscal sustainability, and you probably asked the question. I do think that it is a fact of life, and in everybody's experience, expenses they're like nails, is what they used to say in my old world. They grow like nails, and you have to trim, 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 trim. And the thing is that you have to make sure that you know where your revenue's coming, because if you don't pay attention, your revenue shrinks. So keeping the balance between our revenues and our expenses is, I think, the most significant issue for the village. And what I propose to do about it really does have to do with a strategic plan. Like Karen, I'm a firm supporter of a strategic plan that allows us to assess where we are in all aspects, our budget, where our priorities are. It is actually a means of ensuring that we communicate with residents and understand everybody's priorities, and then use that information to really decide what we need to do. What do we agree fiscal sustainability means for us? Some questions that come to mind are our transportation initiatives. Are they what we all agree is important and priority for all of us? Other things that are important are the development and how we consider what is the smart invigoration of our business growth. How do we do that together? That's part of what's defined in a strategic plan. And the important thing in a strategic plan is to track it. It's not something you write and put away every once in a while, remember, it's something that you keep track of and you measure yourself against it so that you can determine what your progress is and if you need to make any adjustments. So I believe fiscal sustainability is the most important, and the strategic plan is going about setting.
Thank you very much. And we have the next question. Mr. England, you'll be answering it first. If you believe there is a reason to hire a new village manager, what are the issues you see with the current manager, and how would you suggest changing that in the future?
Well, my belief is that the council did the correct thing when our current manager's contract expired in October. They extended that contract until March 31st of next year. I think that was entirely appropriate, because what that does is to give the new council a chance to adequately evaluate the performance of our current manager. Before we start making any precipitous moves, I think we owe the man sitting in that chair an opportunity to defend his record with this village. So I'm not for any rush to judgment on this. I think this current council has given the new council ample opportunity to perform the necessary assessment to make that kind of judgment.
Thank you very much. The next would be Ms. Tensick. So if you believe that there is a reason to hire a new manager, what are the issues with the current manager?
I don't agree that we need to hire a new manager. We do, however, need to have a better contract and a new contract with our manager. That's if the new council coming forward, after evaluation of his process and his progress, feels the same. The contract that we have right now with the manager is very simple and straightforward and really doesn't give a lot of process in terms of evaluation. A contract is a contract. You can only evaluate a man and the job based on what the contract says. And it doesn't say a lot. So while I personally have no issues with the manager, frankly, we have $13 million in reserves. When I talk to other communities around us, astounded that we approach almost 100% in a reserve. That even in a down economy, he was able to pull that out. So I think we have a lot to be proud of in our manager, but I think we can do a better job fiscally in terms of the council acts as the boss. We employ the manager. We can do a better job as his employer.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fiore? Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you. When you have the potential to replace possibly three new members on the council, that's a majority of the council, and they deserve every opportunity to evaluate our current manager, and that's why his contract was extended out till the end of March. I think that's plenty of time. It really gives 90 days. The council's first real meeting would be in January. And I think the second part to that actually is, and I haven't sat down with the manager yet during all this campaigning and election, does the manager even want to continue to be our village manager beyond March 31st? And I think these are questions that have to be answered. The last part of that is, if I was elected mayor, I would be conducting weekly meetings, set weekly meetings as the mayor with our village manager. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Flynn.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the contract issue was pushed further down the road. A decision wasn't made this year. I'm not big on very detailed contracts. It's all, there's a job out there. It's clearly defined by the community. It's up to oversight from the council. For all you, I want you all to remember something. Ron Williams was my manager. He was the second manager in Palmetto Bay. We've been very blessed with continuity. The oversight from the manager is not the manager himself, it's the council. So when you all ask me, when I'm out in the community with you, what's happened to our traffic calming program, remember, Ron Williams was in place when we got a lot of this traffic calming done during my time in office. Ron Williams is also these last 4 years when we really haven't seen any investment in traffic calming, when we've seen less investment in drainage, when we've seen money not be spent on infrastructure, when we've seen things taken out of our parks that they enjoyed. That's not the manager. Those are the council decisions. So grade the manager based upon the assignments given to him by the council. We're going to look at that when I'm elected mayor.
Thank you very much. And we need another question. Oh, you have it here.
Excuse me for a second. If you guys don't mind, I want to get through one more set of questions for each council seat and still try to wrap this up at 9 o'clock with closing statements. So I'd like to limit the responses for this next set of questions to 1.5 minutes so everybody can answer. Is that okay with everybody? And then we'll give you guys 1.5 minutes for closing statements and all that. Okay, thank you.
We've been keeping that time for the most part, so that should work. Sorry, that was your time. Mr. Flynn, you had it all that time, right? Okay, this is question for Ms. Cunningham. Do you believe the village should fund special events during the year? If so, which ones and where?
Thank you for the question. I would like to see us do our event planning a little further in advance and work with partnerships and sponsorships so that we have much of our events costs taken care of outside of the village, and so it's not coming from taxpayer dollars. I'll use the July 4th event as an example. We spent $60,000 on the July 4th event. I think if we had planned it a little bit further in advance, we probably could have gotten partnerships and sponsorships, and most of the cost would have been covered, and we wouldn't have to extend ourselves and the taxpayers' dollars on events.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Sisman.
Palmetto Bay was incorporated to create a very special community. And I believe that this council should promote community events. The 4th of July was a wonderful event. I haven't seen anything like that probably in my life. The place was wall-to-wall people eating, drinking, playing, having a wonderful time, and that's what Palmetto Bay is all about. So I would encourage this council, the next council, to make 4th of July an annual event and look at other events that bring this community together, to bring neighbors together. I personally met dozens and dozens of people that I'd never met before at the 4th, and we all had a great time, and we should do that again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Council seat 3, and Ms. Sigolara, you'll be answering first. Palmetto Bay is the village of parks. In your opinion, what can or needs to be done to improve the appearance and functionality of our parks?
So I left down the question because that is my second most important thing after the fiscal sustainability. I really do think we need to build our community. As Dave points out, we can do events, but I think the lifeline that we kind of went to was the village of parks. And I think that we should actually be the village of parks, not just the village with a lot of parks. I think our parks are fantastic assets that we have that the community deeply appreciates, and I don't know that we are taking care of them, stewarding them appropriately. I think that the maintenance situation in the buildings, especially recently the building in Coral Reef, is not acceptable. I think that the operating hours need to be reviewed to ensure that we have access to the parks, and more importantly, I think that we need have the right programming, things that appeal to all of us so that we have a reason to come out and be together in a community without necessarily funding events. I think that when we have a great community calendar, we have good reason to come together.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clifford.
The first thing we need is parks that we can walk to all over the city. I once real estate is locked up with nice new buildings, it will never come, especially not for a price that we could afford. I want to find grant money or any available money that is not totally locked up to try to grab pieces of land where available in areas where there aren't major parks already. Mr. Tolberg said something the other day about why do you have to drive a car to a park to get there. Something wrong with recreational, starting off by driving somewhere. There's nothing particularly wrong with the appearance of the parks that we have. It just needs some time and some love, maybe a little fertilizer. The functionality could be improved all over, which we should have a parks board, parks board, yes, to evaluate long term and continuously what we want in our. We could use some improved tennis lighting. We could, at Coral Reef, we could use a new Vita course here and there. Some playground could be returned that was lost. The bottom line, though, is we have to have this input from the bottom up. We need to find out from people who are using the park what they actually want, what they're willing to pay for. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Shedd?
Yeah, I enjoy the parks. My wife and I, we go on walks all over the place, and I don't drive to the park. I walk. And I wonder how did we develop the situation which Mr. Singer brought up at one time, and I appreciate him for doing that. Why did we have the Thalata estate closed to the citizens of Palmetto Bay and only being a for-profit endeavor? I walk by that place, and every time it closes except for special event. Then there's this kitchen, this restaurant that we built at Coral Reef. We spent a lot of money, and the kitchen is closed. Not a burger is being flipped, not a hot dog is being sold, and I don't understand why. Something needs to be said and done about it. If we built it, as the old saying, if we build it, it will come. And if we build it and it's there, we should rent it out. We should get a vendor. I don't care if we make 1%. That's not the point. The point is the access to the people that if they go and use the park, they can go and have something to eat, hang out, relax. And we're not doing those things. That's all.
Thank you very much. This question will be for the mayoral candidates, and we will start with Mayor Stancic on this one. What do you see as the future of Thalata Park? Or Thalata? Thalata? Thank you. In terms of expanding access to all residents.
All right, thank you. Thalata is the gem of Old Cutler Road in Palmetto Bay. It is a beautiful place. It's been open for about a year now, fully renovated. The main building has finally been restored so that it's public ready. And the future of Thalata Park is for all of us. It's for everyone here in this community to use. Right now we have sensible gardening classes going on, green gardening classes, composting. Take your child fishing, eco kayak tours. We have all of those things. And yes, they did just start. And you know why they just started? Because we were just ready to get them started. We've been planning for quite some time. Yes, it's been used as a rental, used as a venue, just as other parks are. We rent it out. We rent out Coral Reef Park. We rent out Park. But the future of Thalata Park is for the residents of Palmetto Bay to have access to the bay, to have access to a place to visit. The beautiful part about this park is it's been open for a year. And yes, there was controversy about it, but unnecessary controversy. The controversy was about public access that was coming anyway.
Thank you, ma'am.
Did we need to go to the state? Did we need to say things that basically weren't true to get access? No. It was always there for you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fiore.
Yeah, Thalata Park, this is an issue that I had consistently brought up for the last several years about the use of the park. I had asked for better signage. We finally have better signage. I know it was an issue. I know Mr. Singer had actually brought it up several times. The park is now open from 10 to 5 p.m. every day. There's other hours, longer hours on Sunday, and it's closed on Friday and Saturday. We recently had a kayak tour. I think it was the past weekend. That tour was sold out. It was just, only on a last-come basis that people could get access to the tour. So it does generate revenue for wedding rentals, but I think it's finally now being used for the purpose that it was supposed to when it was purchased via grant several years ago. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And we're talking about what do we see as the future of the park. Mr. Flynn, you're next.
Thank you. I am proud to have been involved in Thalata. I wish I could have the time to go through the history of it, but I want to let you all know, you all recall through some of my State of the Villages how I stood in front of you and talked about how Thalata was going to put the bay back in Palmetto Bay. And unnecessary? I don't think so. Thank you, David Singer. Sometimes you have to speak loudly to get your government to listen, and if they don't, you have to go to the next level. We signed some very agreements to get that money. We were to guarantee public access for that park. Can we do it for weddings? Absolutely. Should we do it for weddings? Absolutely. But there's a whole lot of other purposes in there, and the kayak trip is wonderful. And I think I'm the only one that's sitting up here who actually enjoyed that kayak trip with my family. My 2 girls, my wife, we went out there. Get on these kayaks and go out. We started these kayak trips as one of our special events when I was mayor as Earth Week with the Tropical Audubon. People have gone out there in those kayaks and don't realize what we have. But we need diverse activities at these parks. We need to keep it going. That park needs to be open. And if you don't, the state's going to get it back. But I don't understand why we're talking about a waiver from the state. I mentioned at the meetings, but they're not quite fully explaining what they mean. This is your park, everyone. It needs to be open for you. It does put the bay back in Palmetto Bay. I have some other ideas for that park, and I actually have had some people when I've walked door to door remind me of it. How about going there for a dinner theater one night? Comedy club, other parties. It doesn't have to be just a wedding. Last thing real quick, government should set an example with its behavior. Don't expect people to be quiet if you're not going to maintain the same noise ordinance in government. Thank you.
Mr. England?
Very good, Gene. Yeah, I'd like to echo a number of the comments that were made by Gene Flynn. This is the closest park to my home, and I can walk there easily. The problem is when I get there, it's really not available. I feel like it was a bait and switch. I took a tour of the property before the city village ever acquired it and felt like this was going to be a great asset for Palmetto Bay. But right now, I don't feel like there are hours available to residents when residents are prepared to use it. I think any special events should be scheduled outside of the normal park hours. And to put a final point on it, as one who lives within earshot of Thalata Park, yes, this park needs to adhere to the same noise ordinance that the rest of us do.
Thank you very much. Well, we certainly hope that we have learned a lot more about the candidates. I certainly have. I was here at the other place for the first debate. I think there were a lot of different issues that were addressed today. And I'm told we're going to move to the closing statements. It will be a minute and a half, and since we started from that side to this side, we're just going to go from this side to this side, so you know when your time is coming. You don't need to. So we start with Ms. Stexic on this side, and we'll end up with Ms. Cunningham.
I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. You've shared a great evening with all of us to learn a lot about what's going on in Palmetto Bay. Hopefully, you will take some of that into consideration when you vote. We have a tremendous community here. We have a tremendous management of our community with a AA bond rating, with a huge reserve. The reserve that will be planned to be used for you, for the benefit of you. A reserve is money that you've put aside for future planning, for future growth, for future development of the services for you. It's all about quality of life here in Palmetto Bay. It's all about the resident. That reserve with strategic planning can be used to increase and improve the services that come to you. Let's plan together. Let's move forward. Let's have a great community together and bridge that gap so that we can have the future of Palmetto Bay to have something great that we all share. We've worked together to build Palmetto Bay. We can work together to improve, increase, and go beyond the services we provide today. We've struggled together through many different things. Hurricane Andrew, creating our community schools. We can work together to make our community even better than it has been for the last 12 years. We have that opportunity. Thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
I want to thank everyone for coming tonight. Thank you everybody that's watching on TV. Thank you everybody that watches it on tape delay. And I'll be curious to see how I look on TV. I'm told I'm much better on radio. Anyway, everyone here, this has become our family, and that's the way we need to look at Palmetto Bay. At one time, we were the envy of the surrounding communities. We got to get back to involvement. Let's talk about involvement. When I was mayor, I started along with Joe Corradino and Tim Meerbot down in Cutler Bay, the South Dade Municipal Coalition. We've got to work together outside the village. Inside the village, we've got to work together too. I want a commitment for everybody here to rally behind the next mayor, which I intend to be me. I'm going to work hard for that with your help. I know we've got some great candidates up here, but we've got to recruit new members, get everybody involved. There's a lot of events out there. Take advantage of what this city has to offer. Show with your feet, support it, get out there. Let's, there's some exciting times here. I'm going to go ahead and do what needs to be done. We need to get a Palmetto Bay Youth Advisory Board. That's going to bring the parents out as well as the kids. I am so eager. I'm re-energized. I don't want to say new blood. Let's call it renewed blood to get back 4 years of sitting with you all, seeing the same struggles, the same frustrations. I have the experience. Accomplishments, not promises or excuses. You have my commitment to work as hard as I did the first 8 years. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Mr. Fiore?
Thank you. Before I close, I wanted to acknowledge my wife, Judy, and my son, Giancarlo. My daughter is in Pennsylvania scoring soccer goals for Marywood University. I want to appeal to our individual residents and families out there. Whether you have a pothole on your street, filled, a piece of playground equipment at a park, or a piece of exercise equipment that's broken and needs to be fixed, if you have a permit issue that something just does not feel right to you, I want to be the mayor that you can go to get it fixed. Please pick up the phone and call me. I'm all about listening and following through. Rest assured, you will get a call back from me. This election is about the future. It's not about the past. It's about making this village even better. It's the place we all move to. But I need your help to make it happen. And that's why I very, very humbly ask for your support during this election. Thank you, and God bless you all.
Thank you, Mr. Fiore. Mr. England?
I too would like to thank everyone that came out tonight. I think the question is, how do we accomplish this vision of unity and transparency and cooperation for all of the stakeholders here in Palmetto Bay? Everybody's talked about it. How do we do it? As a retiree, I have the time, the energy, the experience, and the enthusiasm to begin to mend the broken fences, starting with our own village council. As Vice Mayor of St. Petersburg, I was instrumental in bringing together a much larger city council. And I was elected vice mayor by my peers, not by the citizens. So they obviously felt like I had the ability to bring that legislative body together over some highly contentious issues. As I said at the start, this is not about me. It's about selecting the individual who has the interests of the entire community at heart and the skills to bring it together. I have no other political aspirations. It would be a privilege to serve as your mayor and a fitting conclusion to my lifetime of public service. As mayor, I pledge to make this vision of a united community your new reality. And I ask for your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ms. Siegel-Lara.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming out tonight and understanding better. I think that we have a great pool of candidates that are very willing to serve our community. I think every voter has a responsibility for a person that they believe will do the best job. That person needs the right motivation, mindset, skills, experience to help make our community better. My training and experience is in business process and leadership. I have two very important skills, methodical decision-making and strong problem-solving. We need leaders who will work with people together through the issues and consider all the aspects of a decision, both the intended and unintended consequences in things such as quality of life, economic, environmental, legal, community harmony issues, et cetera, et cetera. So we need people who are really thinking things through. I'm very and action-oriented. I'm not experienced in politics. I'm willing to bring a very fresh perspective and open mind to Village Council. I do know how to bring people together and produce concrete results. Speak my mind. I'm not afraid to ask questions. And I am asking for your support so that together we can build an exceptional village of Palmetto Bay. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Shedd.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you, for showing up and for participating. You know, to me, public service means serving the public needs, doing the greater good for all. I've done that. I've proven that. Still want to continue doing the public good. I think that one of the things that I bring to the table is the ability to deal with problems that need to be solved quickly. I think that I personally like everybody on this panel. I've met some of them before. I've supported some of them before for office. I've met more now that I'm campaigning, and I think I have the quality that most of the people complain about is the inability of the council to get along with each other. I'm an uncompromising individual in the sense that I will not be compromised. I will not be anybody's tool or fool, but I do know how to reach common objectives for the greater good. I do know how to accomplish the mission, and I do know how to sit down and compromise over issues. That doesn't mean I'll be an individual that can be compromised. There's a difference. And I like for you to consider me as a citizen politician, not a politician who happens to be a citizen. And I need your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Clifford?
My phone number and email are on all my literature. I answer my calls and my emails. I try to help. I've talked to a great many of you out there, but with 8,000 homes and 24,400 people, I'm not going to get to all of you. If you have problems, please call me. If you don't have my literature, we'll get it to you afterwards. I've been on 6 committees or boards. I started the process to get a second fire station. I'm trained to come up with whatever it takes to make a proper decision and act on it. I've been involved in every aspect of village life. I have a reputation for civility and consensus building. There is no real learning curve with me. I don't have promises. There's no surprises with me. What you see is what you get. Please remember me in November. Thank you. Henry Clifford.
Thank you very much. Mr. Sisman.
First, I'd like to thank my biggest supporters. It's the 3 ladies over there. Miriam, if you would stand up. Maggie, Mommy. My wife, Miriam, many of you have met. I've been out campaigning pretty much 99% of the time with my wife, Miriam. And I make a joke that you're not voting for me, you're voting for her, because she's the best, and I appreciate all her help. This election for Council Seat 1 is about who's got the experience, who's been involved, who knows the issues, who's fought for the issues, and frankly, ladies and gentlemen, that's me. I've been involved many, many, many years. My background starts at 15 years old. I started working. My grandfather used to pick me up after school, take me to work at the family business. I now run that family business. My sister, my daughter are partners in that business. All of you have been in there at one time or another. I hope we served you well. We take pride in our business, and that's what this council needs, is a business attitude. Let's get the work done. Let's make the decisions. We don't need committees. The committees, the surveys have already been taken. By knocking on doors, you, the residents, have told me what you want. I'm ready to go. Day one. We don't need a survey. We don't need to fool around anymore. We've got to get the work of this city done. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ms. Cunningham.
Yeah, once again, thanks to so many residents coming out tonight. Thanks to our hosts and our moderator. And thank you to my daughter, Megan, who has been my support team, even putting off law school to spend an extra year with her mom while we've gone on this adventure. We really live in a really super great community. I've been very pleased to have lived here for the past 20 years, born and raised in Miami, but living right here in Palmetto Bay, raising my beautiful daughter here. I agree that things need to get done, but I think there are many different ways to do things. And I think without thoughtful planning, getting the outcome is going to be, and if you spend some time planning. We've had the top-down kind of local government. I think we need to start moving from the bottom up. To me, your voices are very important. I cannot capture in the 3,000 homes that I have knocked on doors everybody's vision of Palmetto Bay. I have an idea of the things that you think are important. I've mentioned them previously. Safety, our schools, parks, local streets and traffic. But to me, we need to do some planning so that we can start implementing and spending money on the things that are important to you, the residents here in Palmetto Bay. I thank you so much for your time, and I hope to earn your vote for November 4th.
Well, thank you very much to all. Mr. Singer, would you like to say goodnight to our audience? You will do that? Okay. On behalf of the League of Women Voters, though, thank you so much for inviting us this evening. Thank you.
Is it on? Yep, there we go. Don't everybody bail out yet. Come on, guys, give me a minute here. First of all, thank you all so much for coming. It would have been a terrible disappointment to throw a forum and nobody came, so we're glad you did. Hopefully this has been useful to making your decision and decision-making process for your votes. On November 4th, vote for the candidates of your choice, but by all means, vote, okay? Thank you and good night.